Hi, and welcome to the show. Subscribe at kevinmd.com/podcast. Today, we welcome back Mary Ramon, licensed counselor and coach. Today's Kevin MD article is A Mindset Shift for Physicians. Retrain your brain to see what's going well. Mary, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me back, Kevin.
All right, so let's jump right into your most recent Kevin MD article. Tell us what it's about for those who didn't get a chance to read it yet.
Absolutely. My heart goes out to physicians these days, and there's a lot that's contributing to burnout. I'm not going to pretend to have a cure for everything that's contributing to burnout, but I have learned of a way to help physicians shift their mindset and retrain their brains to see what's going well. And it's actually worked on some of the doctors that I coach. So I'd like to share that with your physician audience.
When physicians come to you for burnout, just what are some of the reasons they're telling you that may contribute to the burnout?
Oh my goodness. Being short-staffed, RVUs. I only know about these things because they're sources of stress. EMRs, glorified cash registers, having to do more with less in the short amount of time, and really a disconnect from their purpose and lack of sleep.
All right, so tell us what your approach is when physicians come to you with all these reasons why they're burnt out.
Well, I'm going to talk today about one approach, but there are many approaches. The approach I'm going to talk about today is related to mindset. Physicians are trained, and this is good, to see what's going wrong and what can go wrong. And that's really important for safety. Some of the doctors I work with have a hard time turning that off, and it carries over into their personal lives. So, for example, there's one hospitalist who I coached, and he would spend his whole day helping people, and then the only thing he could think of at the end of the day was the one thing that he shoulda, coulda, woulda done differently. And he'd ruminate on that, and he would take that mindset home, and he'd also look at what was going wrong at home or what could go wrong. And it was really hard to turn that off or even to accept compliments.
Mm.
So we were able to shift that by he started to ask himself reflective questions each night. And it takes a lot of practice because it's really about retraining your mindset to scan for what's going right. But it made a big difference for him.
So, in that particular case, when you said that this particular physician asked reflective questions, what are some examples of questions that they would ask?
3 questions. What went well today? When did I feel most like myself? And what can I carry forward into tomorrow?
So, when physicians ask themselves those questions, what are some sample responses that they would receive?
So the question, what went well today? It could be, I got a thank you from a family member. When did I feel most like myself? I was in the flow in the OR. What can I carry forward into tomorrow? I'm making a difference and I don't have to overthink it.
And how do those answers, those questions, how does that retrain the brain? What effect do those answers have on that physician?
I'm so glad you asked. It actually helps strengthen the neural pathways because if we're constantly scanning for what can go wrong, we can get stuck in that zone. And we actually need to strengthen the neural pathway of what's going well, what can go right. And it's not just about feeling good, although feeling good is nice because it releases chemicals, feel good chemicals like endorphins, right?
Mhm.
Um, the thing is, there's research on this that physicians who are in a positive mood actually are more creative and they make more correct and faster diagnoses. So it can really affect outcomes.
So, if a physician remembers a simple patient thank you, that can affect neurochemically what's going on in their brain.
If they do it intentionally, I recommend practicing it daily, regularly, until it becomes a habit, until you automatically start seeing what's going well. And it's not instead of, people are sometimes worried, well, am I going to lose my ability to see what's going wrong? No, it doesn't cancel that out. It's an addition to, but you're able to take off the hat of looking for what's wrong, and you're able to look at what's going well, what went right, and that can profoundly affect people's outlook at work and in their personal lives.
So you said that this is a process, of course. In
Yes.
general, how long does it take to retrain that mindset?
I think it varies for everyone, but it takes until someone knows that they don't need it anymore when they don't have to think about it. So it's I wouldn't give it a specific amount of time, probably minimum a month,
Hmm.
but it can definitely take longer than that because if someone has spent 30 years thinking a certain way,
Yeah.
it can take longer to retrain it. But they don't always notice when it's no longer happening. It's kind of like noticing that you don't have a headache. So
And of course, if things are, if these sources of burnout are addressed, that can affect that physician's personal life as well in a positive way.
100%. Yes. People tell me that, their marriage is going better. They feel happier at home. They're less likely to snap or bring their negative outlook home. So that's when they kind of know, this is clicking. This is making a difference for me.
You shared that story of the hospitalist where you instituted some of these changes. Any other
Mhm.
stories? Because sometimes we like to see some of these techniques in action. Any other stories from that you could share with us where physicians can change their mindset and it made that appreciable difference both in their professional, personal life?
hmm I worked very closely with a pediatrician who suffered from vicarious trauma from, hearing about children drowning or being harmed in car accidents. And she had young children herself and lived by the water and couldn't stop worrying about them, even though she had all these safety measures in
Hmm.
place. So she asked similar questions. What went well today? My children were safe and happy. When did I feel most like myself? When I wasn't worrying about them and I was just in the moment. What can I carry forward into tomorrow? Remember that they're safe. I put all these safety measures into place and I need to relax and enjoy the moment with my children.
Now, do you have any physicians who may feel skeptical about mindset training or worry that it may seem superficial?
Yes. I mean, some people might think this is toxic positivity. I guess my only answer to that is that there's science behind it and research behind it. And I don't want to overlook all of the factors that we discussed earlier that contribute to burnout. This is not instead of addressing those factors. This is in addition to. I think there are so many factors that are beyond the physician's control that affect burnout. And you and I could talk forever about systems changes that need to take place.
Hmm.
And it is true that the burden should not be placed on the physician to prevent and manage their own burnout. But for now, that's what we have. And so these mindset questions and strengthening our neural pathways, they're just part of a very complex problem. And they're just one answer. It's not the answer. So if it's not enough, absolutely, some people need to get therapy or coaching or treatment or have some time off and take a break. And yeah, they need a lot more than this. I don't
Where
want to simplify it.
where do you draw the line to so it doesn't cross into toxic positivity?
Well, it's more like it's not so much about drawing the line. It's about letting people tell me all the reasons why it's hard
Hmm.
and not trying to talk them out of it. Who am I? I haven't practiced medicine. I haven't walked a day in their shoes. I need to acknowledge all the reasons why it's hard and perhaps have several sessions about all the reasons why it's hard. And then the physicians have to want to feel differently and say, Mary, I'm really struggling with my mindset.
Hmm.
I wouldn't just, when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. I wouldn't just apply this to everyone. It's for someone who's actually saying, I can only see the negative at work and outside of work. I really want to work on this. That's when I think I would apply it. And then it's not toxic because it's actually something that they're wanting to work on. They've identified as an issue.
So, how about those physicians, like you said, who identified that this is an issue and obviously coaching is one option? What other
Mhm.
resources can you point them to where they can perhaps on their own try to shift their mindset?
There are peer support groups. Some people prefer speaking with other physicians. Employee assistance programs are wonderful. That's my background as EAP. Some people find therapy to be helpful. Some people actually benefit from medication.
Hmm.
And some people don't need any of that. And they tell me the best thing that happened to them was the yoga class they went to. But I'm not going to be the one to say, oh, you're burnout, just go meditate.
Hmm.
Because it's not that simple.
We're talking to Mary Ramon, licensed counselor and coach. Today's Kevin MD article is a mindset shift for physicians. Retrain your brain to see what's going well. Mary, let's end with some take home messages they want to leave with the Kevin MD audience.
Notice what's going well. These daily reflections can help shift your mindset and reconnect with your purpose. How we think shapes the lives we lead. And I hope that you find these practices valuable and worth trying.
Mary, once again, thank you so much for sharing your perspective and insight. Thanks again for coming back on the show.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.